Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for inspired conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy. I can't believe we are celebrating over 10 years of inspired conversations with visionary women who are really making a difference in the world with their message and offerings and how they show up to support others. You may also know me as the publisher of the beloved Aspire magazine, which is celebrating 20 years of transforming women's lives. And I have to add this in. If you would love to circle up with me and hundreds of soul-aligned women, I invite you to come to Massachusetts in April. April 11th and 12th, I'm producing the Inspired Life Women's Weekend of Love, Light, and Laughter, a transformational experience for women on the path of self-discovery. Tickets are on sale right now. Be sure to get on over there. We have women coming in from around the country as well as Canada. Go to inspiredlifeevent.com. And I'm so excited to share that my special guest today will be there and I get to hug her in person. So joining me today is Beth Myers, an old friend. We have known each other about 15 years, and I'm so happy to be able to meet her in April in person. Beth is a natural born soul guide who walks beside women on their journey of transformation. Drawing on decades of experience as an educator, school counselor, and coach, she empowers women to release limiting stories, reclaim their inner light, and rediscover the joy within. Merging her compassionate guidance and energy mastery tools, Beth supports women to remember their real truth, co-create their next chapter, and rise with confidence. Beth, along with her partner Kim Gore, founders of You Too Can Thrive, know firsthand what it takes to transform your life from surviving to thriving. Their combined life experiences from Beth's 3 decades in education and Kim's sales and leadership background led them to consciously reinvent their lives to create their dream life. In fact, today they travel the country in their rolling home, exploring, connecting, speaking, and creating sacred community gatherings with other light workers as they go. Beth, I am so happy to have you here.
Oh, Linda, I am so overjoyed and just so honored to be here with you on your show and to have this conversation. I love that conversation, and to be here with you, I'm just thrilled. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's funny because we've known each other. I was trying to think, I'd say 13 to 15 years. We've connected, collaborated, really connected, but you've dove in deeper into my communities and we've got to know each other on a deep soul level. And, the work you're doing in the world, the journey that brought you here, it has been a complete reinvention, hasn't it? Because here you are traveling in I love what you call your rolling home. And I don't know, creating this ripple of love and light everywhere you go between the sip and shares, the virtually and in person, as well as the BK adventures. So much yumminess, my friend. So I think it's such an important topic today.
Oh, thank you so much, Linda. We all get to reinvent our lives, don't we? But we have to choose that. It's not something that just happens. Yes, an event might happen where, we have the loss of somebody that we love deeply, that we retire from our, lifelong career or maybe many careers to another one. Sometimes it's from we're reinventing, going from being a mother and having your kids to being an empty nester. And then maybe moving into that sacred role of a grandmother. You know that, right, Linda?
I know that role.
Yes, yes. And so it brings sometimes uncertainty, sometimes it brings great joy, sometimes we feel lost and we're just not sure what we're going to do. Some people have it very planned out and scripted, and that may work perfectly, but there's always going to be reinventions that we have, because really every day we're in that process of refining, retuning our dial to what it is we truly do want in our life. And, that's been a joy of, Kim and I really reinventing ourselves as we learn and grow. And boy, have we grown with you, Linda, and expanding and
Stretch.
reinventing our stretch. Exactly. And sometimes it's not so comfortable, and sometimes it is, and it feels right. And it's following that what feels right in this moment for what we want in the future, right?
Yes, and something you said too, we are always, because it's part of the human experience, going through transition.
Yes.
And what I've come to see in my own journey, and I'm curious if this is for you, that there's the choice of going through these major life transitions, um, as a partner with the transition and like leaning in, going, okay, this is uncomfortable, it hurts, it's painful, depending on what the transition is. But you
Mhm.
kind of lean into it, knowing that if you stay open, you're going to see the other side. You're going to come out the other side. But quite often in my younger years, a transition would come, life, business, family. And man, I would fight it, Beth. I would
Yeah.
fight it thinking I could micromanage and control the situation, which of course is an illusion. Do you
Yeah.
find that women get stuck in their transitions and feel frozen, like they don't know how to move forward because they're not leaning in, or because they have that feeling of not being able to control the situation, or both?
I think it's both and you
Mm,
just
both
you
and, yeah.
yes, you painted that picture very, real, and that's what Kim and I talk about, is we talk about being your real self, right? Because many times we operate from that old limited self where we try to push and strive and create things by with that energy, a very masculine energy. And so, what we refer to as real, tapping into your real self, is an acronym for real empowerment allows love. And I'll say that again. So let this sink in. Real empowerment allows love. And
Mm.
when we think about that, I mean, okay, we've got our real self with if you think of it just spelled with little letters, right? That's our limiting beliefs. That's us keeping ourselves safe, right? The ego self, the ego mind, trying to keep us in the predictable. Just do it like you've always done. Don't go there because what might happen, and then we try and control, right? We try and kick in and say, oh, I got to control this, got to make it work. And
Yep.
it's then being open to that allowing. And that was one of the biggest gifts when I became certified to be a coach through Christy Whitman's Quantum Success Coaching Academy, which is where I first learned about you, Linda. And it was leaning into that allowing energy, not realizing that there is that higher self, the divine, that we can co-create with. Hence, when I think we were on a train from Virginia to Florida, and I said, you know what? I got a new acronym, Kim. Real empowerment allows love. What do you think of that? And it was,
I love
thank
I
you.
love it because when you first shared what the acronym is with me, when
Uh-huh.
we, in conversations,
Yes.
want to know what I felt? I felt the vibration of it. And
Mhm.
then you just anchored that in, that what I was feeling was right, because you said, imagine the word real, the acronym real, with
Mhm.
small little letters. So I immediately energetically felt, oh, lower self, higher self,
Yeah.
real empowerment allows love is, wow, we are operating from the truth of who we are, not the bullshit stories, excuse my language, beliefs and scripts that we picked up from others. And it really resonates with me. And I know that's how you set the container for the work you do with women, is like, you have just forgotten who you are. Let us show you, guide you back to the truth of who you are.
Yes. Yes. Because and that's really what I felt like I've been on a journey for probably the last, I don't know, 30 years, since my 20s. And I really have, well, I guess it'd be a little longer than that, 40 years.
Yeah, same here, my friend. Mhm.
We're in the 60s club, right?
Yeah.
Celebrating that. But with, with that time comes wisdom as we keep finding what works, what doesn't work, what works, what doesn't work, and what do I want to have happen? What do I imagine? Kim and I had a dream for 20 years of living full time and RVing and traveling and meeting people and seeing this beautiful country that we live in. And 5 years ago, we went full time and said, "Now's the time. We're doing this." And that was a reinvention for us. And where we really had to tap into that real empowerment allows love. The highest vibration in the universe is love, right? Along with appreciation, empowerment, right? Feeling empowered, freedom, those are all high vibrational according to Abraham Hicks's vibrational scale, right? It's being able to tap into knowing that you are supported, allowing that love from the divine to flow through you, and that you are not alone, that we are co-creating this life together. We always have been, but do we always remember that?
Oh, that's it's the remembering. It's the remembering, because I think we often forget. And Beth, we're going to take our first break.
Yeah.
When we come back, let's talk about that more, because when you said, co-creating with the divine, that's how I live my life. But it was a learned journey, right? As I'm sure it was for you. So we'll be back in a moment, my friends. I'm here with Beth Myers of You Too Can Thrive. And you can get the link down below in the show notes on whatever platform you are listening to. And while you're there, be sure to check out in the nav bar about meetups, including her virtual sip and shares, as well as BK Adventures and more. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to reinvent your life on your terms? Midlife women, it's time to get off autopilot and co-create your dream life. Midlife transformation guides Beth Myers and Kim Gore are passionate about guiding women to discover adventure in their own lives and to become deliberate co-creators of their dreams using mindset, belief and energy clearing, and compassionate guidance and coaching. They know firsthand what it takes to transform your life from surviving to thriving because they've done it. Today, their dream life consists of being full-time travelers in their rolling home and exploring, connecting, speaking, and creating sacred community gatherings with other lightworkers around the country, both in person and virtually. Midlife women, if you're ready to release your limiting stories, reclaim your inner light, and rediscover the joy within, visit you2canthrive.com. That's the letter U and the number 2, canthrive.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm with my soul sister, Beth Myers. She is a midlife reinvention guide. And I have known her, as I shared, for about 15 years. And I watched her live her message, create, co create, we'll say, her life the way that aligns with the truth of who she is, as well as her partner, Kim. So you just shared some things about living in co-creating. I think so many of us, and I speak from experience, ladies, I've been there too, right? I think so many of us think we have to push through life and demand things from life, and it leaves us kind of, well, I'll speak for myself. It used to leave me depleted, exhausted, disconnected from my joy, disconnected from my sense of connection to all that is. Because I look back now and I use this phrase a lot. I was trying to micromanage the divine because I thought it would make me feel safe to know what was coming next. Well, the reality, as you know, Beth, we never know what's coming next.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, your story in Kim's, it was a perfect example. Like, as scary as it was, you leaned in to create this life you desire of traveling the country full time. And I've loved watching your journey. So let's talk about, I'd love a couple signs of when a woman can recognize when she's living from the small self or the real self.
Hmm. Great questions because oh, and it's 111 right here. So the
I
angels
know.
We talk about our divine fan club, and the divine fan club is your guides, your angels, all those messages that we get from the universe around us. Might be words that people share, it might be a road sign you see, it might be an abundance of birds that are out, gathering, and it's like, ah, this is an amazing life. That's living from your real self, right? When you notice, you take in and bring in all of the abundance and the goodness is in this world. And when we're in that real self with little letters, right? That lower self, it's always like, oh my gosh, well, wait, is this going to happen for me today? How can I get that to happen? What Oh my gosh, there's birds. Oh, well, what if when I get back to my campsite, there is just bird poop all over the place? Then I'm gonna have to clean it up. And we start going down those rabbit holes, right? Of not seeing the abundance and allowing ourselves to be in synchronicity, really, in sync with the divine, of not that micromanaging like you were talking about a few minutes ago, right? Trying to micromanage even the divine, like get those things out of here. I don't want to see that in my field. And then knowing that, wait, we're not in control of that. Those things that we don't like seeing in the news, in our world, the more focus we put on those things of everything that we don't like, that we don't want, those are the things that are going to keep showing up because, as you know, and we've talked about this at different times, we create, we're always creating, whether we're creating what we don't want or we're creating what we do want, and where we're putting that focus and energy. So when we are being in our higher self, real empowerment allows love, we are noticing the things that we do want. Yes, we're informed by this stuff over here that we don't like. Maybe the bank account isn't showing the number that we'd like. Maybe the relationships that we have, some of the people are not, living in drama. They're not, in the circle of love, of everything's going smoothly and flowing and the boundaries are all being honored. And so when we're in that higher self and we're co-creating with the divine, our angels, our guides, we're seeing those signs, and we're creating more of what we want to see. We're finding more instances of kind people in the grocery store, people holding doors for us, when we go in places, people smiling, talking to us, with kind words, not hearing hate-filled things and things that pull our energy down. We start seeing more of that in our life. So, did I answer your question, Linda?
Yeah, you did, because really it's an energy. How I know,
Mhm,
to lead off your conversation, how I know when I'm not living from my real, my
mhm.
higher self, um, is how it feels in my body.
Yes,
Am I anxious? Am I disconnected? Am I on high alert? It tells
right.
me that I'm in that. limited, low vibration, low energy place. But I used to go, "Oh my God, I don't want to be here," and panic. And now I
Mhm.
go, "Oh," I immediately flip the script from judgment, self-judgment, to, "Oh, thank you for letting me see that I'm out of alignment with the truth of who I am." So years ago, though, I would judge myself like, "Linda, you should know better. You shouldn't have these thoughts and emotions." That's bull. We're human. We're going to have them. But the empowering part for me is knowing that in the moment of awareness of where my energy is, I get to choose something different. And that is life changing, as you know, because you live the same principles, Beth.
Yes, indeed. Yes. We
It's like
all
a
have
tuning
a choice.
system.
I'm sorry, say it again?
It's like a tuning system, like a radio show, right? You
Yeah.
can't say you want the experiences, things in life, and but you're tuned into another frequency. That's like saying, well, I love country music, but you're always playing the rock and roll station. And for me, like that's what I always saw in my energy field. Like, Lynn, where you tuned in right now? Because you're not in joy, you're not, your passion's not coming through. All the experiences that we get when we live from our higher self.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it really is about being going from being very unconscious and how we move through life and the choices that we make kind of out of habit, out of a knee-jerk reaction where we don't put that pause in between the reaction and we choose then to respond to because we put that pause there in the middle. um, so it's being able to be more conscious. And the way that we do that is paying attention, like you were saying, to our feelings and our emotions, feeling those feelings, allowing them. They're just energy and they're there to inform us. So when we can let that pulse out of our solar plexus and our like lower abdomen, right? When we can allow that to really feel that, to pulse that out and release it, then we're able to bring in those higher energies. And, first of all, we have to feel compassion for ourselves because if we don't feel compassion for ourselves, we can't have that compassion for other people and other situations that are occurring. That are, that we're in relationship with, because we're in relationship with everything, everyone, because as you and I know, we're, collectively together, right? We're all
We're
one.
connected. We're connected. That's why we all feel so deeply
Yeah.
when something happens. And one of the things for me too is, do you find in your work with clients that helping them learn the skill of awareness? Because I think so many of us, and again, I'm speaking from my past experiences, we live on autopilot, don't we? We're not even
Yeah.
present in our own lives. We're not even there. We're just like, okay, on to the next. I'm like, where are you right now? Where is your heart? Where is your soul? Where is your spirit? Do you notice that with clients too, that they're just so disconnected from their inner self?
Yes, they are. And, women in midlife, this is a time really to pause and really relook at what it is that we're wanting for ourselves. All those things that maybe were passions and things that you were excited about when you were younger and throughout your life. Find those threads to move forward with it. And so it's that awakening to I don't have to be on autopilot. I don't have to continue to create the same old Groundhog Day, if you
Yeah.
will, right? That this is how I do things. When we can open up just a little bit, and it can be again, with the five aspects of consciousness. I love this, and I share this with my clients. I learned this from Christy Whitman's book, The Desire Factor, and it's the five aspects of consciousness. And we get to choose the words that we say, because that has energy and frequency. We get to choose our thoughts that we think. We get to choose our beliefs and perspectives, which can take us out of judgment if we choose, right? We can we're in charge of our emotions, and whether we feel them or we don't feel them. And then our actions that we take, whether we choose to be kind or we choose to not be kind. We get to make those choices as we move forward. And it starts with those little moments of reset. And that's what, it's that awareness with clients in the moment as we are working together and as we build that relationship for them to help trust their co creation with the divine and bringing more moments of real, capital REAL, of being in their real self, as opposed to operating on autopilot from their lower self that's trying to keep them safe and stuck and, you know, um, in,
Mm.
in that same pattern.
I love this. And because I know you so well, I can see you guiding all these clients because we all need spaces to be able to feel safe and supported when we're going through a transition. So we're going to take a quick break, Beth, and we come back. Let's talk about that. And let's also talk about um, the word reinvention as you and Kim use it, right? Because we know midlife can be such a powerful doorway for this work. So we'll be back in a moment, my friends. I am with my soul sister, Beth Myers of You Too Can Thrive. And I just want to say something about the URL. It's the letter U, the number two, canthrive.com. But all the links are below in the show notes on whatever platform you're listening to. Stay tuned, my friends. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to create and live the divinely guided life intended for you? A life not bound by your past or tied to a specific future. A life beyond your fears and what ifs that is filled with limitless possibilities. Experiencing an empowered life of fulfillment, joy, and connection is possible when you embrace a spiritual solutions-centered lifestyle. Through her transformational teachings and programs, Lisa Hermata, empowered life view guide, life transformation mentor, and founder of Love is the Seed, empowers women to break the barriers holding them back from living their sacred truth so they can find greater connection with their inner wisdom and their divine source to co-create a life that brings peace, joy, and self-acceptance. Visit loveistheseed.com for positive guidance and valuable resources to support you in embracing an empowered life view.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy. Thank you for being here with us today for this enlightening conversation. So, Beth, that was beautiful. I loved how you gave an overview of the 5 aspects of consciousness and how you tie them into your work. And I want to pivot a little bit about this word reinvention because you and Kim are both midlife reinvention guides. And let's give our listeners what you mean by reinvention, what it's pointing to, and why you feel that midlife is such a powerful doorway when you're open to doing this work.
Mm. Thanks for asking that, Linda, because, reinvention, especially in midlife, invites us and requires us to be really honest with ourselves about our desires. It asks us to review those old patterns that we keep repeating and inviting us to realign our vision with our highest truth, which is love. And this season of life is not about starting over from scratch and getting rid of everything. All of that is they're building blocks to help get us to where we are. And then it's about integrating that wisdom that you've earned, because you've earned that wisdom, and consciously choosing what comes next. And as I said before, it's happens daily. It's not oh, I'm going to wave my magic wand and boom, you're now reinvented into whatever you want to be.
You got
Wouldn't
to
that be
do the work, right?
exactly? Exactly. Yeah, and Kim, one of the reasons why real is so important to me is Kim, when we met in 8th grade, 9th grade, we really got to be good friends. And she was so real. She had already peeled back a lot of those labels. Like I was a big people pleaser. Oh, I was such a big people pleaser. And So I loved that she was just real. She could be really honest about what was true for her, what wasn't true for her, and make those choices. And then when we reconnected back at our 20-year high school reunion, it was like that was still true for her. And we have helped guide each other and helped each other grow over the last 20 years plus that we've been together. And it's really about asking those deeper questions. She is a belief excavator.
Well, she is, guys. I got to tell you, when she's in our circles, because they're both in some communities with me, she comes up with, I don't know where she gets it, intuitively comes up with these great questions to help that person she's responding to dive deeper. Yes, I agree. That is one of her soulful gifts.
Yeah, and so that's what we invite women, especially in midlife, because it's a time that becomes more of yours, like we talked about earlier, of different seasons of your life have already completed, different chapters have completed, and now it's time to focus on what you really are desiring. What are you wanting to create? And asking those some of the questions we've talked about earlier of how does that how would that look like? We talk about the 3 R's of reinvention, and one of them is remembering. The first one is remembering. And it's not remembering all the baggage that we have, all the stuff that keeps us stuck, right? Or has happened in our life and feeling victim to that. That's not how we live our lives. That we can, but we don't choose to. I know you don't choose to, and many of your
No.
listeners don't choose to, right? People who come to us as clients, they don't choose to because they want something different. They want something better. And it's not just remember, because remember we talked about earlier, both and I know that's a favorite of yours as well, the both
Oh,
and
yes.
life, right? But there's that remembering those stories that we don't want to recreate and continue on autopilot, but it's also remembering the things we were really good at, that we loved doing. What are those things that we can bring more of into our lives that bring us more love, that bring us more joy, the types of relationships we're looking for, what we're really wanting to create? And so that remembering part is important, both and. Then it's resetting in the moments with that deep breath, that energy mastery process that you're using to clear your energy field. And I know you have many of them, Linda, that you share.
Oh, yeah. I have a spiritual tool chest, girls.
Yeah, well, I would love for you to share a couple of the spiritual tools that you use, and then I'll share a couple of mine. How's that?
That deal. Well, I think one is, for me, is the awareness. And when I feel, because the way I process is feeling in my body. So when I feel my body is giving me a sign that I am out of alignment with my higher self, and I think I spoke about this a little. One of the first things I do is when I feel the sensation in I usually feel it in my solar plexus, like a little bit of anxiety, butterflies. That's how it starts. Now, if I ignore it, it's all just going to build, right? Because what you
Yeah.
don't face grows.
Hmm.
So, which I used to run like hell in my younger years. And I'm like, all it did was chase me. And now I turn and face and go, oh, like, hello, friend. I talk to it. And then I put my hand on my heart always. And then I always say my first name. And the reason is we're trying to bypass the lower self, the ego, and speak as if we're speaking to our higher self. So the feeling arises. I realize I'm out of my own frequency, that's human. It's okay, guys. Don't judge. And then I put my hand on my heart and say, Linda, is this the truth of who you are? Now, because I word it that way, Beth, the answer is always going to be no. And
Right.
the reason is it's a question to my higher self. And
Hmm.
then the next part is, and I have different questions, but normally the second part is, what do you need in this moment to come back in home to yourself? And something you said earlier, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's jumping on my rebounder, maybe it's putting on a spiritual book, but I call it a frequency reset. We have to be aware of what our frequency is before we can change it. So that's one of my tools about remembering my truth. So now it's your turn.
Well, thank you. So I like to just close my eyes, put my hands on my heart. And I love your questions. That's why I asked you that question, because I've heard you share that before and felt that was so important to bring that question piece up. So I thought I probably will add that into my practice that I'm just going to share. But I feel
Yay.
like the light coming down the top of my head, the crown chakra, and my hands are on my heart. And I take 3 deep, soulful breaths, breathing from my solar plexus and just breathing in and breathing out. And I think of when I breathe out, I'm releasing that thought, that word, that belief or judgment that I just had. It's breathing in light and breathing out what is not feeling good at that moment, and again, it could have been an action I just did. Maybe I, was kind of sniping at Kim about something. It's being able to create that pause in between or even right after a reaction that may have just happened. And so it's then settling into remembering, oh, I am guided. I am free. I am thriving. Some type of affirmation that anchors what I'm wanting to feel in my body, and feeling that compassion, feeling that flowing from my head down to my heart, into my solar plexus, through my root chakra, and then to my feet, which are grounded on the floor. And then taking those 3 deep breaths back in and saying, all is well. All is well. That helps me reset in a moment of not staying on that autopilot, not trying to control things, and allowing the energy to flow through me, um, so that then I can come back to love. That's what we're
Yeah.
here for.
So true. And something you said just really spoke to me. You said about reacting, right? And the
Mhm.
moment you said that, reaction comes from our lower self, right? And we all do it, ladies. I still do it.
Oh, yes.
A-
I do too.
And in the real self, capital, letters for the acronym, it's about responding. So responding is always from love. Reaction is always from a wound. And I just want to speak, or from an old trigger that you think is done, but it's really running the show in the background. And
Mhm,
so one of the things when you shared that was I used to judge when I reacted. Now, granted, because I've been doing this work for 30 years, I don't react like I used to.
mhm,
But I'm human and I have my days. But the difference is, and I'm curious about you too, because is I realize it in the moment. So I react,
mhm.
uh, and then I energetically feel it like, oh, Lynn, where were you just then? But instead of judging, what I do is, I separate myself from whatever that situation was, and I go within and I say, what wound is coming up for you, Linda?
Mhm.
What story? Like, in other words, I don't want to just leave it there and move on.
Right.
So we're going to dive deeper. We're going to take our last break, this conversation. And I keep forgetting to look at the time. I'm like, ah. So thank you. Thank you. We'll be back in a moment, my friends. I am with Beth Myers, Midlife Reinvention Guide, and we will be back in a moment.
Coaches and aspiring guides, this is your time to increase your income and help clients experience real soul aligned breakthroughs. Become a certified life purpose prosperity soul guide and learn how to help clients embody their elemental astrological archetypes for heart aligned success, creating lasting shifts they'll deeply value and happily share. This nature aligned certification provides you with practical tools to support your client's unique purpose and prosperity pathway, opening up powerful new ways to expand your business and increase your income. Lisa Michaels, creator of the Life Purpose Prosperity Blueprint, with over 30 years of proven results, personally mentors you through this dynamic system. grounding cosmic wisdom in earth honoring leadership practices. Watch a free masterclass revealing how this sacred strategic work can elevate your offerings and your impact. Visit lisa-michaels.com/soulguide to explore your expansion opportunity today.
Welcome back. I am so happy that you're circling up with us. With me today is Beth Myers, Midlife Transformation Guide, a natural born soul guide who walks beside women on their journey of transformation. So, before I realized the time, that react respond, right? Like I used to judge all the time. And now I just go, it's just our divine source revealing another layer of healing that has to happen. Do you see it that way too now?
Oh, I do. I do. It's the Ho'oponopono prayer.
Oh,
It
my favorite. My
Oh,
favorite,
yeah,
favorite.
yes. It is so, um, helpful because it's bringing all the pieces together of, what we need to do, not need to do, what we can do,
Yeah,
choose to forgive ourselves, to be in gratitude and thank this for coming up for us in this moment. Because, things get revealed to us, and it's our choice whether we look at it or don't look at it. And when those things happen, it's an awareness for us. Again, going back to that, right? Of are we going to open our eyes and look at it and do something about it, do something different? And being able to know that that love is still there. It doesn't go away, right? Um,
yeah.
tell me your sequence for Ho'oponopono prayer.
I mix it up. Isn't it funny? I'm just glad that you said that. So I learned not to keep it the same every time. Now, there's not wrong. It's
Right?
just what will happen is we go into that automation and we stop putting the intention with the words.
Right.
So when I first learned it, it was always, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
Hmm.
But if you notice in anything, like when you learn your ABCs, right now you could do them rote
Hmm.
with no emotion, no, they're just there. So how I learned was mix it up.
Hmm.
And the reason is so you don't go into that rote mechanical um, mm, repetition. There's some days, it depends what it is. Like if there's someone I love, I'm worried about, or I'm distressed, maybe there's a separation between us. I use that all the time. I use it, envision their face in my mind and send it. So how do you do it, Beth?
I'm so glad you said that because I mix it up too. Because sometimes it's a very conscious. I want to be very intentional with how
Yes, that's
I say
that's it. It's intentional and it's almost like very intuitive which one comes next in the moment, right? And
it.
then I listen to sometimes I listen to various ones that I like recordings. Um, and I notice they mix it up and I love falling asleep to it. It is so healing. It's
Yes.
just like this big soul sigh. So sometimes I listen as I'm falling asleep.
Mhm.
Um, I just love the intention and beauty behind it. And so that is a powerful one to help us. I call it recalibrate, clear the reactionary energies that we have in our body. So you use that also for like the reactionary energy?
Yes, I do. And also sometimes even the pause, like pausing so I don't react. Like I want to
Ooh,
react. I think about it and then I sometimes I even start with I love you.
yes,
To remind myself that I am love, right? And that I can choose then a different reaction, or response, excuse me, response instead of reacting. So sometimes it's being able to bring that in, the fact that I had the thought, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. Hey, I can make a different choice. I can say something different. I'm not going to say what was in my head, but I'm going to say something different that's more loving, more kind, to my partner, to the person that just cut me off in traffic. That it's working on expanding that space between the first thought, the first belief or perspective that I might have, and putting that pause in between. And that's a great process to help with that, I believe.
Oh, it truly is. And because we're in the last segment of the show, I want to invite you to speak to those who are listening who may feel the nudge like to go towards change, but really don't know where to begin. What's a gentle first step you would invite her to take?
Thank you for asking that. There are so many things. And I think the one thing that we didn't talk about with the three R's, with the remembering, the resetting, is the reimagining.
Oh, yes.
A lot of times we don't know how to, we've forgotten. It's not that we don't know how, we've forgotten how to reimagine what we are desiring. And Kim and I, with our Midlife Reinvention kit, put together an ebook that kind of walks you through some very um, guided processes, a 5-step process. And the fourth one is envisioning. And that one to me has been where I've had to expand myself because I'm not a visual person. Kim is very visual. She can describe something for you, what she wants it to look like in the future. That's something that I have a little harder time with. So I like guided visualizations. And we recorded a guided visualization to help on a journey that you can take yourself to start feeling comfortable with reimagining what you desire for your midlife reinvention.
Ooh, I love this. And ladies, I want to tell you how to get that, okay? Of course, always go to the show notes, but the Soulful Reinvention Kit for Women, you'll be guided, as she just shared, through the 5-step reinvention process to help you identify what areas of your life are out of alignment so that you can craft an empowering vision for your next soul aligned chapter. So, as Beth shared, you'll receive the Envision Your Next Chapter guided visualization as well as the e-guide. And you can get that at you2canthrive.com. As soon as you get there, you see the reinvention kit in the top nav bar. Be sure to download it. It is amazing. And again, that is You Too Can Thrive. The letter U, the number 2, canthrive.com. And I got to tell you, that gift is so supportive because it brings them back into themselves, right? So they can start to identify what lights them up. What do they want in the next chapter? What do they not want in the next chapter?
Yes. Yes. Which is really important. You have to be aware and identify that to be clear.
You have to, because you can't, it's almost like you are going through life, you just get in your car, right? And if you don't have a destination, you're just
Yes.
driving blind, dead ends, roundabouts. When you have the vision for what you wish to bring into your life, it gives you a sense of direction to go towards. You might not have all the answers, but to me, and you've known me a long time, Beth, is if I see the vision for something, I don't have to wait for the A to Z plan.
That's
I let the
correct.
vision fuel me. And sometimes I bite my nails going through it, but I just have always been, I shouldn't say always, I reinvented myself in my 30s to learn to trust my internal guidance system more than I did in the first half of my life when I tried to, the song Jesus Take the Wheel. Well, Linda was taking that wheel and not letting anyone else drive. And I want to say this is a much more aligned way to live. And Beth, that's why your and Kim's work is so important. Women are waking up in the middle of their lives, especially midlife women, going, how the hell did I get here? And you're all about helping them go, okay, this is where you are. Let us show you where it can be. So I just want to say I appreciate you, my friend, the work you're doing in the world. And again, I want to invite everyone to go to you2canthrive.com. Beth, we have about a minute or so. Do you have some closing wisdom you would love to share, more than all the wisdom you already have?
Oh, thank you. Well, I want to thank you, Linda, and honor you for your path that you have reinvented for yourself and for our connection. And I believe that connection, community, and conversation are so essential now, and that there are so many different places that you can find that connection, conversation, and community, and seek that for yourself because you will be so grateful to have all of that to enhance your life moving forward.
Oh, wise words, my friend. And I want to share one more thing. I want everyone to go to you2canthrive.com. When you get to the top of the nav bar, you'll see meetups. When you click that, learn more about her Sip and Share lives, their Sip and Share virtual, which I will be on in April. Woohoo! So keep your eyes open for that. And then BK Adventures, they do meetups and day trips at different parts of the country, wherever they are, and they circle up with people and have beautiful experiences together in community, as she shared. And the Sip and Shares gather for meaningful conversations, connection, community. They're magical, and I'm honored to be part of your April Sip and Share, Beth.
Thank you. And I'm excited because we're doing a BK adventure to the Women's Weekend in April.
Yes, I
Yay!
am so excited. So we will end that conversation by saying, I hope to see you at the Inspired Life Women's Weekend of Love, Light, and Laughter. You can get the details and be sure to grab your ticket soon at inspiredlifeevent.com. Beth, thank you, my friend.
You are so welcome, and thank you, Linda.
Until next time, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness, my friends. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.